Hey YouTube, what's going on? Abyssalwave here, and today I'm going to be talking about Tomb of Sargeras, giving my initial thoughts and opinions, and I'm going to do a video later this week talking about the situation with Death Knights in Tomb of Sargeras, but this is just going to be a video talking about general Tomb of Sargeras, overall my thoughts and opinions on it, aesthetically and boss mechanic-wise. Let's just talk about it, and let's get into it right now. So first off, the aesthetics of the raid. So let's go through the raids we've had so far. Let's go through Emerald Nightmare, just broadly. So Emerald Nightmare, oh my god, it was all red. Every boss was red. Every square inch of the place was red or black. It was fucking awful. It was so boring. There was no change of scenery. That's the best way to put it. Trials of Valor did a better job of it, but it was such a short raid that didn't really matter. You know, you went from Odin's Room down to Helheim, whatever. You know, it wasn't, you didn't really need a big change of scenery in a 3-boss raid. Nighthold was, it did an okay job. You know, you had the underground area, then you went up top to the real, to the brunt of Nighthold. You went to a small little confined room that opened up into space with Augur. You had the captain quarters for Tichondrius, which was fucking weird. Then you had the giant destroyed bridge for Croesus. You had the garden for Botanist. It was very cool. You know, it was a nice change of scenery from place to place, boss fight to boss fight. And then, you know, you went up to the top of Nighthold. That was great. And I think Nighthold was one of the best aesthetically appealing raids we've had in the last 2 expansions. I'm talking about Warlords of Draenor and Legion. In Legion so far, obviously I have the other 2 that I mentioned. It was the best. Tomb of Sargeras, how it stacks up against Nighthold then and the others. Obviously it beats Emerald Nightmare and Trials of Valor out of the water. It's a beautiful raid, it really is. You're not confined to just what I expected to happen was just everything would be green, corrupted by Sargeras and the Legion, or kil'jaden, I should say. No, it actually wasn't. It was, majority of it was blue. Weird, okay. You went to the underground area with Harajatan, Mistress, and Sisters. Everything was blue. It was kind of this underwater cavern, which, fuck, man, I love that. That was so cool. That was one of my favorite parts of the raid, was after you kill Harajatan in that little cave, then you follow that little cavern down to Mistress. It was so awesome. It really was. And then you follow up the area back to the start, or Harajatan, and then you turn right to Sisters, and then there's this giant pathway to Sisters. I mean, man, it was cool. And then my favorite part was once you kill Maiden in that giant circular room, then you take this huge elevator down the Fallen Avatar with this just enormous area, and then once you kill him, you take a portal and you go to kil'jaden's airship. Oh, that was the best part of the raid, was when you first got onto kil'jaden's airship, because we knew that was going to happen. We fucking knew it. The moment we saw that cinematic at the beginning, when they released that Tomb of Sargeras was going to be the next raid, and they gave us that gorgeous cinematic where we saw kil'jaden on his airship, you knew you were going to fight kil'jaden on the airship. And once beta testing opened up, you saw the fight. It was so cool. The complaint I have, and I'll get into this now with the boss fights, is I wish they did more with some of the boss fights. And this is a complaint I have that might not hold up in Mythic, because I don't know if there's going to be extra phases on Mythic for some of these bosses. There could, of course, be an extra phase on kil'jaden that I'm not aware of, similar to what they did on Gul'dan. So this might not hold up for that. However, with some of the fights, I do wish they did more in Normal and Heroic. Of course, again, Mythic could change up a lot of what I'm about to say. But fights like Goroth was a face roll. It was absolutely just god easy. It was a joke. There were like 3 mechanics to deal with, and as a melee, I dealt with like 1 of them. So I didn't even know what to do on that fight. We still killed it with 0 wipes on both difficulties. Inquisition did a great job of giving us a decent amount of difficulty for a second boss, but still not being hard for a second boss, if that makes sense. It wasn't overwhelming by any means, but the mechanics were interesting, and certainly on Mythic looked to be, you know, similar to what Chronomatic Anomaly was, but maybe like a little harder version of Chronomatic Anomaly. And then Harajatan was I think, in my opinion, easier than Inquisition. I think Kil'jaden was just an absolute joke. You know, you cleave down the ads. That's really what you did. As a melee DPS, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do on that fight than just DPS down the ads as they come out? So, like, I don't really care for that fight too much. But then Mistress, I loved the Mistress fight. Mistress fight was probably in my top 3 fights in the instance, just because it was very, and you're going to see it on the screen because I think I put up my Mistress fight in the background for you guys. Man, that fight was cool. With the whole feeding the whale shark, which obviously I didn't do on heroic, but I did it on normal. I did it on normal, and I was like, okay, this is boring. This is taking away from my DPS. I'm not doing this on heroic, and I didn't do it on heroic. You know, we'll have the range do that, or the bottom DPS, but your boy's gonna stay on the boss the whole time. So I did, and then you go to Sisters. Sisters was one of the worst experiences of my life, and simple reason for that is the melee hitbox was so fucking small that you had to be on top of her in order to hit her. And of course they fixed that in a hotfix yesterday, but that's just something that fucking pissed me off the whole time. And I had like a 300 RP Valkyrie just because I couldn't hit the boss. And I can't imagine if you were running Breath of Cinder Ghost how infuriated you would be if you dropped it. And I did actually run Frost for the first normal fight that we did, and then we just wiped because we didn't know about the healing debuff. We were just like face rolling, we going in, we weren't prepared, and we found out about the healing debuff later, and I switched over to Unholy, played Unholy for it, you know, whatever. I was just playing around with Frost at that point. And then we went to Desolate Host. Desolate Host was annoying on Heroic. It really was, because it required the bottom group and the upper group to communicate with each other without seeing each other. And that's always hard to do. It was such a cool fight, though, because you can see the Desolate Host and you can DPS it, but you can't see the other group. I like how they did it. It was very unique. I haven't seen a fight like that before, so definitely went out of their way to make this a new kind of fight, a new combat style, I guess is the best way to put it. Yeah, I really enjoyed that fight. I did, even though we did have like 5 wipes on it. It was a great fight. Maiden, I wasn't a fan of Maiden. I think the fight on Heroic was a little too punishing with the bombs. The bombs, you had to jump in at 1 second. 2 seconds, you would just fall to your death. And if you didn't jump in time, you would just blow up on the raid and do like 1.5 million damage to everyone. So I think the timer should be you jump in at 2 seconds and you're safe, but that's just my opinion. They are probably not going to do that, but that would definitely help out, because that is an incredibly punishing fight in the current iteration that we have now. And then you go on to Fallen Avatar. Fallen Avatar was, for the most part, my favorite fight in the instance. I loved the style of the fight where you have to use an ad to block off the beam from charging the actual Fallen Avatar. I think that's such a cool fight design. It really is. And then once he hits full energy, when you kill the ad, and you do that pretty low health so he doesn't consume the ad and go back to full health, then you go down below and you have to manage your platform very carefully. I think they designed that fight fucking perfectly. It's such a cool fight. It's not super punishing, not super hard, but it's still not easy. And I like that for a final fight, or a second to last fight. It's not incredibly hard. It doesn't have a ton of personal responsibility, similar to what Elyson had, but there's still responsibility with the Shadow Blades and the Unbound Chaos. And then kil'jaden. I wish they did more on the kil'jaden fight. I was really disappointed with the fight about how you just fight him on the small platform up top. I wish they used the entire ship for it. I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunity there, that they could have really done more. But just the same, the fight was awesome. I really like it. kil'jaden's such a phenomenal lore character that this was just an amazing fight. No matter what they did, it would have been a great fight, similar to what they did with Gul'dan, where the fight was kind of awful, but it's Gul'dan, so it was just great. That's the best way to put it, really. So all around, I really enjoyed the fights themselves. Now let's talk about some other stuff. The trash, I like how they were trash light in the beginning of the instance, and they gave you the trash near the middle. So, wow. I guess the best way to put it is I think they realize that a lot of trash in the beginning of the instances or in one certain point is really fucking annoying. Like what they did with Botanist or what they did in Emerald Nightmare where it just clumps of trash before each boss. Or after the first boss, just a line of trash up to the next boss. That was awful. So I think they realize that and they're giving us light trash. And at certain points, and the trash is not super hard. Like, most of the trash is before Desolate Host and Sisters of the Moon. That's where a majority of the trash is, and before kil'jaden. That's the 3 big trash points, and they're not that bad, believe it or not. So I think they kind of took their own advice there, or the advice that we gave them. So all around, trash is not too bad. So that's about all I have for today. All around the instance, I absolutely love the instance. I do think that some of the fights, they kind of missed out on some stuff that they could have really made very cool, but all around it's a fun instance and it looks gorgeous, and all around I think they did a very good job on it. So tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. What do you think of Tomb of Sargeras? And I will talk to you guys later. Have a good one.